Yes, now we are going to talk about alkenes. In organic compounds, we normally classify them as aliphatic and aromatic, and another very important classification is as saturated and unsaturated. Saturated compounds are those compounds which normally have single bonds, and unsaturated compounds are normally those compounds which have got pi bonds. But why the name saturated and unsaturated? All of us know that saturated means, normally we take an example of a saturated solution of sodium chloride. What is the saturated solution of sodium chloride? A glass of water is taken, to which a small amount of NaCl is added. When you shake it, it dissolves. Again you add some more sodium chloride. Again if you shake it, it dissolves. At a particular stage, no further addition of sodium chloride is possible. Such a solution, such a state is called as a saturated state, and a solution is called as a saturated solution. So what is the state before arriving at this saturation point? We normally will have to call it as unsaturated. So the word saturated and unsaturated has got a very interesting meaning here. What is a saturated solution? Where you cannot further add anything. What is an unsaturated solution? Where you can add something, where something can get further dissolved. The same meaning is used here. If an organic compound can show addition reaction, these are called as unsaturated compounds, and those compounds which cannot show addition reactions are called as saturated compounds. So that is the basic difference between a saturated compound and unsaturated compound. Now let us talk about the chemistry of an unsaturated compound. So an unsaturated compounds are further classified as alkenes and alkynes. So we will be first talking about alkenes. Alkenes are those compounds which contain one pi bond. So when you talk about alkenes, in an alkene, the presence of pi bond is a very interesting feature. And how do we find out whether an organic compound has a pi bond or not? For this, we have got very simple tests. In laboratory, what we do is, we take a little amount of bromine water or bromine in CCl4 and add your organic compound to it. If it undergoes decolorization without liberation of HBr, we say that the compound is unsaturated. Another interesting reaction test is the test using dilute KMnO4. When you take a dilute KMnO solution, you add little organic compound. If the organic compound has a pi bond, if it is unsaturated, decolorization of KMnO4 takes place. Here dilute KMnO4 solution is called as Bayer solution. So these are the two interesting tests that we normally employ in a laboratory to find out whether a compound is saturated or not, unsaturated or not. So one is bromine water decolorization, next is Bayer's solution decolorization. Now in both these reactions, what happens actually? Now when you have a CH2 double bond CH2 to which you add bromine water, what happens is the double bond, pi bond breaks, you get bromine. So this is bromine water, and bromine water is brown in color, and now what happens? Because the bromine is added up here, it undergoes decolorization. Another interesting reaction is Bayer solution. What is Bayer solution? We said Bayer solution is dilute KMnO4. We know the color of KMnO4 is pink violet in color. When you add a Bayer solution here, what happens? Here also the double bond breaks and it forms a diol. Here also decolorization of KMnO4 takes place. So these are the two tests that we use for finding out whether a compound is unsaturated. We have two compounds A and B. Both A and B has a pi bond. If it has a pi bond, it will be unsaturated. That we can find out by using bromine water decolorization or Bayer's reagent decolorization. But how do we find out the position of a double bond? How do we find out the position of the double bond? For this, there are very interesting tests. One very important test to find out the position of a double bond is ozonolysis. We would have heard about this, ozonolysis. Ozonolysis is a reaction where ozone, when added to an pi bonded compound, then the pi bond breaks, we get two different compounds. This reaction is called as ozonolysis. In an ozonolysis reaction, what actually happens is this. The double bond first forms an ozonoid. It first forms an ozonoid and the ozonoid breaks. And it results in the formation of two compounds, CH3 CH double bond O plus CH double bond CH3. So this reaction is called as ozonolysis. The intermediate is an unstable ozonoid which cleaves to form two carbonyl compounds. So this is a very interesting reaction we normally employ to find out the position of a double bond. Now I can make it very easy for you. Whenever you are given a compound like this or a compound like this, and if you are told to find out the ozonolysis product, it's very easy for us. All that we have to do is put a dotted line here, put a dotted line here, and where there was double bond earlier, that will now break to form an double bond. So this is the reaction. This will break. I am just writing the H clearly, double bond O, C, I am writing that H, CH2, CH3. Here it will break, you have got CH3, C, double bond O, I am writing that H here, plus C, double bond O, CH3. So this is called as the ozonolysis reaction. In an ozonolysis reaction, what happens actually is, wherever there is a double bond, it will break and you get double bond O, double bond O. So for any organic compound, we can easily find out the product of ozonolysis. Look at this compound, CH3, CH2, CH, double bond CH3. What is the ozonolysis product? Double bond will break. We can rewrite it, CH3, CH2, C, I am writing the H here, double bond O, plus I am writing this double bond O, H, CH3. So this is a very interesting, very easy, very simple method to find out the position of a double bond. Wherever there was a double bond, it will break to give us double bond O, double bond. We can take large number of reactions like this and find out the product of the ozonolysis. We can make certain very basic inference regarding the position of the double bond based on the product. Now for example, if it is a 1-ene, for example like this CH2 double bond CH, CH2, CH3. So always in a 1-ene, one of the product will be this. Always one of the product will be this. That is, you will get formaldehyde. So if it is 1-ene, we will get a formaldehyde or one carbon, IUPAC name is what? Methanol. Okay. So this is a very interesting deduction. Similarly, if the double bond is, compound is symmetrical, for example like this CH3, CH, double bond CH, CH3. If it is symmetrical, it will break. And what do we get here? CH3, just rewrite this H, double bond O, H, CH3. So both the double bond O products are same. So if it is symmetrical, if the alkene is symmetrical, both the products will be same. So if you get only one product, it means the initial compound is symmetrical. if the C double bond C carbon has an alkyl substituent, for example, like this CH3, C double bond C, CH3, CH3, CH3. It's a double bond with the carbon having an alkyl group. Here if it undergoes ozonolysis, it will break to give us CH3, C double bond O CH3 plus CH3, CH3. So, it is both symmetrical as well as the double bond has a carbon. So, you get same products. So, when it is this, the product will always be a ketone because you do not have an H, you will always get a ketone. So, this also is an interesting characteristic of the product. So, if the double bond carbon has an alkyl group, the product will be ketone. Look at this example. Now, suppose this is like this. Only one of the carbon has an alkyl group. So, that will be ketone. Here you do not have an alkyl group. That will be an aldehyde. So, here you have got an ketone and an aldehyde. So, we can summarize like this. We can find out the presence of a double bond or unsaturation by either bromine water or by Bayer's solution. We can find out the position of a double bond. How? By conducting ozonolysis. During ozonolysis, what happens? Wherever there is a double bond, it will break. And you get two C double bond. Instead of the double bond, just write C double bond or double bond. Based on the product of the ozonolysis, we can make some inferences. Number one, if it is one of the product of ozonolysis will be formaldehyde or methanol. Number two, if the alkene is symmetrical, then both the products will be same. So, in other words, we will get only one product. The product will not be an aldehyde, it will be a ketone. So, these are very interesting things. Now, for example, we say an organic compound X. For example, organic compound X. Organic compound X. Features are A, decolorizes bromine water. B, on ozonolysis, one product was A, formaldehyde. 2, only one product was obtained. Three, a ketone was obtained. So, decolorizing bromine water means X is unsaturated. On ozonolysis, if the one product was formaldehyde, so the choice should be 1 in. If only one product is obtained, among the choices, it will be a symmetrical alkene. If acetone was obtained or a ketone was obtained, if ketone was obtained, then the organic compound is having a pi bond and the pi bond carbon has an alkyl group. So, this is the information that we can draw out of ozonolysis. Okay. Just like ozonolysis, we can also use acidified KMnO4. Acidified KMnO4, when taken, any organic compound which has unsaturated bonds will undergo cleavage. And we know that KMnO4 is a stronger oxidizing agent than ozone. The double bond carbons will now become acid. The double bond carbons will now become acids. So, just like ozonolysis, we can use KMnO4 also to find out or locate the position of a double bond. Wherever there is a double bond, the double bond will cleave and you get COH and COH. Here also, just like in the case of ozonolysis, here also, just like in the case of ozonolysis, we can make certain conclusions. The conclusion is this: if the double bond is at the first carbon, in ozonolysis we got formaldehyde. In the case of KMnO4, we will not get formic acid, but instead we will get what? Carbon dioxide. So, 1-ene will not give formic acid, instead it gives what? Carbon dioxide. Number 2, if the double bond is alkene is symmetrical, then we will get 2 acids which will be same. So, you will get only 1 acid. Both the acids will be same type. So, we get only 1 acid. If it is unsymmetrical alkene, on KMnO4 we get 2 acids with different number of carbons. Here also, just like in ozonolysis, if the double bond carbon has an alkyl group, just like in ozonolysis, here also on oxidation, the double bond carbon bearing the alkyl will not get converted to an acid, it forms a ketone. So, these are the very interesting conclusions that we can draw. Okay? So, this also helps us to find out the location of the double bond and the nature of the double bond. So, both ozonolysis and acidified KMnO4 can be used.